All right, folks, don't go anywhere. Welcome to our special Christmas edition. That's right, Santa Claus is coming to town by way of Ron Hutcheson. Ron is a 20-year coach and trainer, coaches some of the top Zillow Flex teams in the country. And man, he got a word for you coming up next on Cliff's Notes. Real estate agents, are you struggling with the day-to-day grind, dialing for dollars, putting in hours of floor time with little to show for it? Are you looking for tips, tricks, and tactics to accelerate your career as an agent that will have you closing more homes, working with more clients, and earning more money than ever before? Hi, my name's Cliff Freeman, and I've spent the past 2 decades of my real estate career running one of the top brokerages in DFW and personally coaching over 1,000 high-performing real estate professionals across North America. I created this podcast to share the strategies and tactics you need to explode your real estate business. I guarantee it. And we got the guarantees going on all show today, don't we, C3?
We sure do.
I'm telling you what, this is going to be we call from, in Dallas, we call these humdingers. This is going to be a humdinger of a show. And don't be confused, because some of you, when we get this gentleman on screen here, you may confuse him with a well-known Dallas cowboy. But let there be no confusion. This gentleman is one of the top trainers that Zillow has ever had for the flex teams and the people that sell a ton of real estate. And I think without any further ado, we should go ahead and bring Ron Hutcheson on to Cliff's Notes. Ron, how are you, sir?
I'm doing well, Cliff. How are you?
Man, I am doing terrific. You sure look good and cozy there in your nice warm house. It's getting to the single digits here in Dallas, and we're freezing our tutus off. How are you?
Same here. The weather's dropping hour by hour, and it's going to get cold here as well. So.
Oh, okay. Now you're in Atlanta today, I believe, right?
Yes. I'm in Atlanta. That's where I reside. Yep, here in Atlanta.
But not for long, though. You're making your way to Florida, the Sunshine State.
I am, Cliff. I am. So the wife and I decided, since we are empty nesters, just this year. Our last one went off to college. And so we said, hey, we could travel, we can go around. So we decided Florida was going to be the next move. So that's going to be the next move.
Well, I think that's awesome. The only thing you got to worry about there are those stinking hurricanes, right? At least it's not cold. And the iguanas.
And alligators.
And alligators, yeah. You don't want to feed the alligators with any of your body parts, that's for sure. Yeah. No question about it. Well, my friend, I know we've got an audience just chomping at the bit here to hear a little bit of your story and also to talk some real estate. And I just kind of want to do a little dive back into your past, your history. And you actually grew up in New Jersey, if I recall correctly, right, Ron?
Yeah, grew up in New Jersey. I moved to Atlanta it was about 2004. But yeah, born and raised in New Jersey. That's why when people say you look like Emmitt Smith, but I am a New York football Giant fan, just so you know that. Yes, I do look like Emmitt Smith, but I'm a Giant fan.
Well, that's why we're doing the show remote instead of having you in the studio, because we only allow Dallas Cowboy fans in the studio here in Dallas. So, Ron, you weren't born into the real estate business like many of us were. Tell us a little bit about your story. How did you wind up getting into this crazy business we're in?
It's interesting because, for 20 years, I've been developing, training sales teams and who got their license in insurance and investment, so independent contractors. So that was kind of my world. And so I've been doing that for 20 years, built a insurance agency, and was looking to do something different. And so someone reached out to me on LinkedIn and said, based on my experience, Zillow was coming to do something great. I was always a Zillow fan. So obviously, just like most of everyone else, I'm always on Zillow looking at houses. That's back then when Zillow was just like really, really new. Spoke to some of the recruiters about they were doing something different with their program, and they were launching this new product, and they needed some advisors, consultants to kind of work with these teams. And so I started with Zillow about 3.5 years ago, just right into real estate. And so I knew how to build and grow sales teams, but I didn't know the product of real estate. And so quickly, I just started learning the Zillow way, learning a lot about real estate. Obviously, it's still the same funnel, just like any other sales funnel. I just had to learn the product. That's how I got into Zillow.
Okay, so let's break that down a little bit for the audience here. You said
Mhm.
it's really the same systems and processes. You just had a different product.
Correct.
Tell us a little bit about what the systems and processes that you're talking about here.
So you got to think about, so everything is just is lead generation and lead conversion, right? So if you're looking at it from the sales side, leads come in, you got to convert those leads. So if you build, depending on how big you want to build your team, you have to build some systems around those leads coming in, who's managing the leads, et cetera, et cetera. Then when the lead conversion part, if you're going to build a team around that, whether it's a support staff or bringing in more sales, you got to convert those leads. So in any sales organization, that's kind of the model, lead generation and lead conversion. So I just had to learn the real estate business side of it to actually help real estate business owners understand those two things: lead conversion, lead lead management, and lead conversion, lead generation and lead conversion.
So I mean, you've been coaching some of the top teams and top agents in the country for a while now. What do you see? Is there anything, any common thread that these folks have in common that would help you identify somebody who's going to be a top producer?
Um, I would say yes. The thing that I notice is the coachability of the leader. A lot of small real estate leaders are still in production and they just sell real estate. And to transition from the mindset of selling real estate and running a real estate business takes a different mindset. There's a different set of core ideas and strategies and skill set you have to kind of employ to run that business. Some leaders, Cliff, don't take the coaching and the strategies and implement those strategies to really run a business. They are so much still in selling real estate that they can't step away and really grow a business. So coachability would be one of the biggest things that I would say someone can take that leap in running a real estate business instead of just selling real estate.
No question about it. Yeah, being coachable is huge in this business. Can you unpack a little bit about the strategies and skill sets that it takes to run a team?
Yeah, so a lot of times, when I think about let's say a small team versus small team, meaning a team maybe doing less than 100 deals a year, right? And that team leader or that broker might not have all of the leverage to scale the business right away. So there's a lot of things that they might have to do to scale that business, meaning that, let's say, for example, they can't get a huge CRM system right away. So we know we need something to kind of manage our leads, and we can't get a system right away. So we might have to get maybe one that's less expensive, that don't have all the bells and whistles, but they're willing to put in the work outside of the things that they're missing to um, fill in the gap for those. So things like that. So recruiting, if they can't hire a recruiting company and they have to learn social media, or maybe they are good at identifying people on their team that are good, and they can put that person in position to learn to recruiting, so they can actually bring in more leads for the recruiting side, so they can convert those into obviously agents who are productive. It's just learning at whatever stage that you're at in your growth of your business, learning how to leverage the tools and the resources that you have to actually go to the next level. And sometimes some people start with a lot of money. So some leaders might have, other businesses that they run, and they want to grow a real estate business, and they have leverage where they can bring in, director of operations, they can bring in salesmen, they can bring in those people right away. and that can help to scale their business. So for me, we going back to the first question that you're saying, Cliff, is finding a leader who's willing to be coachable and be able to look at all the resources around them to help them to scale their business. So what I did with Zillow is I try to put those leaders and masterminds with a size group that is their size, that real estate business. Because a lot of times in the beginning, what we used to do is we used to have all the big leaders, the guys who are doing 500 million in production, and then we have them on a mastermind schedule. But 80% of our audience is under 100,000 and 100 million in production. And so the big guys are saying, yeah, we hired this recruiting company, we got this big CRM system, we're doing all these, we have 18, admin and et cetera, and they're doing all. And the small guy saying, well, how the heck I get to that level? You know what I'm saying? And they would come off these mastermind calls and I would do the one-on-one coaching with them and they will be frustrated. I mean, they're excited that, one day I'm going to get to that, but it's like, okay, so what is my next step with the resources that I have currently, and how can I leverage what I have to get to the next step? And if those leaders would implement those and execute what the coaches would say, then I know I got somebody I can work with.
So we've often said that it's harder to go from 25 deals to 100 than it is to go from 100 to 250. We call that 25 to 100 the messy middle, right?
Yeah.
The messy
middle. I like that.
You don't have any infrastructure at 25 deals except maybe an admin, right? And you're just doing it by yourself. So you have to build all of that infrastructure so that you can leverage up to 100 units, but then the scale from 100 to 250 is just adding on to that model, right?
Yeah.
I mean, do you see it? Is that the way you kind of look at things as well?
Absolutely. And you're absolutely right. And I think that majority of, I would say, the teams are in that level, 25 to 100. Because it's the messy middle, like you said. It really takes a lot of more of just selling real estate and putting the infrastructure together to push that thing to the next level, finding the right leaders, hiring the right people, putting the systems in place, testing it, making sure that those systems are working. So once you can get past that, you're right, you're just adding more leaders on after that. So I totally agree.
Right.
And Ron, you mentioned hiring the right people. What are some characteristics or metrics that you have for when you're hiring or helping those clients of yours hire team members or certain positions on?
You know what, Cliff? Everyone has a different so if we're talking agents, everyone has a different avatar for that, depending on the lead generation sources that they're providing them if they're going to grow a team. So some people like a newer agent to maybe work with some lead generation sources that they have, because they know that the conversion rate is not the best, but it gets them in the thick of the business to really kind of understand that. And so they might have a division or a part of their business that's working with that avatar, that group of people. But those group of people, the avatar, one of the characteristics is, I call it the 3 H's: humble, hustle, and hungry. So no matter if you are a new agent or you're an experienced agent, I believe that those 3 words are the avatar that you're looking for any agent that you want to bring on your team.
Yeah, and I'm going to piggyback off of that. We actually have something very similar where we say, if you're going to join our team, you have to be hungry, you have to be humble, and you have to be smart. So I'd say that's the same thing what you said, but just a little different. Yeah.
Yeah, and the funny thing about it is we talk about this a lot, but hunger is one of those things you can't teach people.
Right.
They have to show up, right?
That's absolutely.
And so one of the challenges that we have is really identifying how hungry people are. Ron, have you developed any clairvoyance or any skills that help you really pick those people that you know are so hungry they're going to push through any obstacle that gets in their way?
You know what? If I did, I would probably be on already wrote a book about it, made millions of dollars. I don't, you know what? Finding that motivation in someone or finding that person who is hungry, you just have to go through some of the numbers. Unfortunately, there maybe some other tests you could find out their skill set and things of that nature. But I think you have to design something in your system, especially your onboarding process, your training process, to find out who are the hungry ones, and then those ones rate that cream rises to the top.
Oh, exactly. I think if I recall, Ron, you're a pretty avid reader, if I remember correctly, right? Aren't you?
Mhm.
I mean, you do a lot of work on yourself and between the years. What kind of books have you read recently that you would recommend to our audience to help them, either in mindset or strategically? Is there anything good on your Hot 100 that you'd like to share with us?
One of the things, Cliff, I would say is the book that always comes back to me is Growth Mindset by Carol Dweck. That book is, I think, for anyone going into the business of working for themselves, meaning that they have to generate something, they have to do something to generate an income. Meaning that if you go to a W 2, you're going to make that check at the end of the week, regardless. You know what I'm saying? Whether you perform well or not. But when you get into the business of either real estate or as an independent contractor, and you have to do certain steps and processes, and you got to have that hunger and drive to generate revenue, that book, Growth Mindset, is the perfect book for you to read, because I promise you there are some limited beliefs that you have, that you've been raised no matter who been, you should have the perfect life, but there's some limited beliefs that you have, and you have a fixed mindset in certain areas that you believe that you need to get rid of, and those that book will help you kind of uncover some of the fixed mindsets that you probably have that's blocking you from achieving that success that you want to ultimately have.
That's awesome, and I know you work on mindset a lot. You know, Ron, one of the areas that you've shown a deep concern and a big cause for you has been helping disadvantaged minority brokers who really just never got a good shot at things, and you come in and you help them and you educate them, you coach them, and help them grow their business. Would you talk a little bit about some of your work in that area for us?
Yeah, so it's thanks for asking that question, because when when the George Floyd situation happened, um, it brought awareness to a lot of systemic things that happen. And it's funny because it's not funny, but at the same time that I said, you know what can I do with my skill set that God has gifted me with, the gift of coaching, the gift of mentorship, the gift of training, facilitating. That's a gift. I had to, you know, do more to enhance that gift, but I believe that's the gift that God has given me. And I put it in the real estate industry. So I went to Zillow leadership and I said, hey guys, Atlanta's just going crazy after this George Floyd thing. Like, how could we do something in the community to show that we really care? And they said, well, Ron, come up with a project and, let us see what it is and we'll back it. And so I just started to think about it, Cliff. I said, what can I do to kind of use my gift to kind of help the community? And here's just to kind of give you the backstory. The Zillow has a program called Flex, and this program They have two programs, one where you purchase your leads up front, and the others where they give you the leads up front and they take a percentage off the back end of it. And so that flex program where they take a percentage off the back of it allows business owners or real estate business owners to have to leverage some capital because they don't have to put money out up front. So they can really scale if they do it right. So the way that Zillow approached some of these flex partners, these were guys who were already spending a lot of money prior to the flex coming in the market 3.5 years or more ago. If you were spending a lot of money monthly on their other program, you were allowed to participate into being selected to be on the flex program. So let me just start with that. And so what that did is, if you are not spending 10, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50, some $100,000 a month in buying, purchasing leads, you were not able to get in a pool to be selected. So in certain demographics around the country, there's a lot of great business-minded leaders, community leaders who are starting businesses. And unfortunately, they don't have the capital to be able to do the lead generation, do the hiring, doing all these things. So they can't grow a very, very big business. And so I said, well, let me first research how many brokers really actually own their own business in my community, let's say in the black community. And so when I did the research, there are only about 4 or 5% of licensed real estate agents out of the 2 million licensed agents in the country. And out of that percentage, less than 1% actually run their own brokerage or own their own brokerage. And so I said, okay, why is that? Why is that? Why does this group of people don't have the capability to scale their business? And I started looking around. I started looking at my own book. The people that I were managing, especially the ones who were doing, 300 plus units, 200, 300 million in production. They didn't look like me. And the ones that I did work with early on in my Zillow career, I noticed that they were still in production. They were struggling. They didn't have a CRM. They just didn't have systems and stuff in place. And all the organizations that they were part of did not have resources to help them to scale their business. So I put 2 and 2 together and I said, you know what? Let me go out. I asked Zillow, let me go out, interview some brokers. And the interview process, Cliff, was to find out those that hungry, humble, and they hustle. I wanted someone, if I interview them, will they be coachable enough to implement some of the strategies? 2, if you grew in revenue, will you give back to the community that was given to you? And would you follow the systems? And so I went through dozens and dozens and dozens of individuals on my own dime, on my own time. So outside of my Zillow job, I was actually interviewing and doing this, outside. And so Zillow allowed me to bring on at least 5 in the beginning. I brought 5 in the beginning to test them, bring them in, brought them onto the Flex program, giving them the opportunity to have the capital that they needed, because the leads they didn't have to pay for the leads up front. My time to coach and help them to scale, to help them to put into systems and leadership and those things, that was my time I invested in their business. So we were able to take those businesses and work with them for a year. And within that year, most of them, all of them actually grew in number of agents. And so Zillow was giving them the flex leads, so they were able to kind of feed those to the agents. And as they were growing their agent count, I helped them put the infrastructure in place, the admins, their operations, their trainers, and all those things to help them to make sure that those leads are getting converted the right way and they're making a profit. So that was the other important thing. So these things no one ever taught them in real estate. Making a profit, like what's your profit margin, things of that nature. Some of them you'll be surprised. What is a CRM? Like, what is that? What are you supposed to do with that? And so it took a lot of energy and a lot of time. But at the end of that, their lead generation part of their business, their online lead generation part of their business that Zillow gave them grew from 0 to 150 million. And we had 6 agents within 12 months go make a 6-figure income. And that was very, very impressive. But the thing that I love most about what happened that I was not thinking what will happen was the economy effect. So I was at a Christmas party at one of my the agents invited me to year-end Christmas party, and she invited all her vendors. And all the vendors who were part of her business in the beginning, who looked like her, grew their business because there were more deals coming through that broker's business. So that community of that their ecosystem also benefited, and those minority businesses grew as well. And then because those businesses cared about the community and they were always giving back, whether they made little money or a lot of money, they were able to give more back to the community. Like, they shared a great story about one of the projects that they did for the homeless, working with kids who lost their home or due to fire and things of that nature. They were able to help more, and they did a backpack to school thing where in previous years they were only giving out 100 backpacks. Now they're giving out 1,000. So that little process of finding someone who is a leader and who wants to grow their business but don't know how, pairing them with that access to capital, which was the leads for me, and allowing them to do that. And so it was just a success. And so they brought in about 10 more brokers in the Atlanta market, and we're looking to kind of expand that. But as you know, with corporate, sometimes the red tape comes up and it just kind of put a stop at it. So I will be transitioning and kind of doing my own thing after the end of the year. So Zillow and I are going to be kind of parting ways there. So I can kind of pursue this thing and get some more, sponsorships to help with that process.
Well, what's the old saying? Sometimes you got to move out in order to move up, right,
yeah.
Ron? You ever heard that before? That is
I
so.
have. I tell my kids that. I told my kids that before we came into Nesta. So that's why when they're 18 and 19, they're out the house as fast as possible.
Yeah. Wow. What a remarkable story, Ron. And, that's just a testimony to where your heart is and, being a great servant leader that you are. And I couldn't be more excited to hear that you're leaving Zillow and now we'll be able to extend your reach a little bit. And in fact, tell us a little bit about what those plans are that you have for the next year or two.
So Cliff, one of the things that I noticed in coaching teams, so the teams that I was fortunate and blessed, and again, I just want to say that the Zillow was a great learning for me. Actually, it was a privilege to be part of a brand name in real estate who changed the game. I mean, just being on the inside and learning everything was a blessing. And I thank them for that opportunity to be able to do that. But what I did notice is the lead generation in real estate is another pillar that I think most teams, Cliff, is not really catching on faster enough. What I mean by that is that when we do so if you go back 20 years ago, the whole lead, we can list a whole different lead generation sources. You got the FSBOs, you got the direct mail marketing, you got door knocking, right? So all of those lead generation sources have been used to grow someone's real estate business or just being a real estate agent. This new thing of online lead generation, whether it's from Zillow, whether it's from social media, whether it's from realtor.com, or whether somebody else is trying to get in the game and sell you leads from the internet. That part of the business of scaling that part of your business and building that out, if that's all your business, I don't recommend that to be all your business, But if that's part of your business to use to grow your business and maybe to get someone started, then get them over to the other side where they're doing all the other stuff that was, that we normally used to do. Most teams are not caught up to that yet. I gave an analogy the other day, Cliff, about the NFL. You're an NFL fan. You mentioned Dallas Cowboys, right? You're lucky Jalen Hurts is not playing Christmas. So
Come on
that's
now.
another time.
Come on.
We'll talk
Come
about we'll talk
on.
about that another day. So think about the quarterbacks today, right? So you got Mahomes, you got Jalen Hurts, you got all these quarterbacks that's coming in the system today. If you were a defensive coach 20 years ago and you tried to come in and coach that defense today with the coaching you had 20 years ago, would that coach be successful? Yes or no?
Oh, I think he'd get smoked, man. Taken to
He
the
would get
house.
smoked because you've never seen this type of quarterback before. The RPOs that they're doing, you've never seen it. So you don't bring on the right outside linebackers. You don't bring on speed. You don't bring on all of those things and contain a Patrick Mahomes. You're going to lose your division. So you got to have another coach that's going to come in who knows that system. And I think for me, my next step is I want to work with teams who have at least 35% of their business in online lead generation, teach them how to scale that part of the business. And then eventually that will run into their business, because again, they're using old techniques to run that business, that part of the business. And some of them, Cliff, by the way, it's all of their business. And they're not, some are doing a great job at it. Some are doing a really great job at it. They know the avatar, they know the right people, they know how to build a structure around it, they know how to make the profit margins work, they know how to do that. Others, not so well. So I want to step out. We're starting our coaching company called Power Builders. If you look in the word power, you got the WE and the builders build, and then we build real estate teams. We're going to be building and helping them build online teams that work online leads and how to be successful in that.
I like
So
that.
Power Builders, don't you guys have an event? If I recall, it's Closing the Gap in Atlanta.
Yeah.
Talk to us
Yeah.
about that. What is that all
Yeah.
about?
So Closing the Gap Atlanta, it came from working with those teams at Zillow, with those teams those minority teams, and Closing the Gap. We do that every year. We last year was our inaugural year. We're going to be doing it this year in March, April, where we bring in those teams that were able to scale their business and grow to the next level. And I'm all about raising leaders. So I want them to teach the audience what they went through to get to that point, all the mistakes they made, all the things they should have did, as I was coaching them, so that the audience can see how they can be successful by implementing some of those same strategies. So Closing the Gap Live is to bring in some of the minority business owners in the real estate industry, and who has whether it's a team or whether you're a brokerage and you're looking to scale your business. We have the teams that I've worked with and other teams that I know that are doing the right things for their business, especially if you're looking to build an online business where you're getting leads from online, how to scale your business and grow your business to the next level. So Closing the Gap Live is my baby, man, and I love working. I have a partner that we work with together, and we're growing that business where we're going to do that every year, and hopefully we're just going to get bigger and bigger. I would love to do it around the country, but we need more sponsors for that.
Sure. And I also saw Valen Lyons is a part of that with you.
Yes,
as one of the speakers, right?
She was
Yes.
on our show 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
What a powerhouse. Boy, that
Yeah.
Valen is something. Have you known her for a while, Ron?
Valen was actually one of the teams that I was coaching.
Wow.
So she was one of the teams that when she first came to Zillow, we started with a couple of agents, and I helped her to build that. Now, again, Valen is hungry. She hustles and she is humble. So when you talk about somebody, you say, hey, next step, do this. Before they come to the next meeting, they're calling you and say, hey, I already did the next step. When's the next step? So if you want to know, Cliff, is somebody that's coachable, they're calling you before the next step that they already completed the step you gave them last week.
Right, right. No question about that. She is. She wants you to know what you're going to be doing 3 weeks down the road, so she can get a little bit ahead of the assignments. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Yep,
exactly.
absolutely.
And
She's a powerhouse. By the way, if you didn't catch that podcast, go back and watch it.
Yeah.
That was a really, really great show. Lots of nuggets all throughout that one.
Oh yeah, I saw that one with Valen. That was really, really good. Yeah, she was awesome on there.
Ron, when's your next Closing the Gap live? Is it in March of next year?
Yeah, it is in March of next year. We're actually in the process of looking for a venue. The venue we had last year, we got some dates mixed up. So either we're gonna have to move the date or look for another venue. So, but that will be coming out before the new year. Actually, the top of the new year, you'll be seeing advertisement for that.
Yeah, and you're still looking for a few more sponsors, correct?
I am, yes.
So if there's anyone out in the audience that's listening that would love to
go.
partner up with Ron or Valen.
What an opportunity, man. And such a
and I'm going to tell you guys, and the sponsors we had, Zillow was one of the sponsors last year. And we had, a mortgage company that was part of the sponsors. And so they're able to kind of, also speak on the stage as well, too. We actually, we did the event in a way, Cliff, where if you are working with the coaching and we're helping you to grow your business, we have these production categories that you get awards because you're moving to the next level. So every year, I don't want you coming back and you're in the same production level. You should be moving to the next production level. So that's the goal. That's why we want to do it every year, so that if you get some coaching and you get some help to grow your business, you should be moving to the next production level.
So, Ron, if members of our audience wanted to find out a little bit more about this, do you have a website?
Yeah, so it's closingthegap.live.com, closingthegap.live.com. Or they can reach out to me directly. I mean, if I can give my Gmail address, it's just Ron Hutcheson 25, just like you see on the screen, but 25 at Gmail. You can get that. You can email me, and I'll love to sit down. Or you can reach me on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram. Ron Hutcheson. Reach me out, DM me, and we definitely could talk about where you could play a part in that. In addition to that, because I'm moving for Zillow, and we're opening up the Power Builders coaching, and again, that coaching is going to be working with some of the flex teams, or some of the teams that are getting online leads from, whether it's Realtor, from Zillow, whoever. I'm going to be coaching and training some other coaches to learn that skill set. Because Cliff, to be honest, sometimes, when I'm working with a leader, they have team leaders who are in their organization that need training on how to grow, how to help them out. And so we're going to have training for some of the team leaders on how to work with a team who's running an online business. We're going to be developing the operations manager, the ISAs, the admin. So anything that deals with your online business, marketing for your more marketing, if you want to do online, we're going to help and train you and your staff on how to run that part of your business. So that's the niche of the Power Builders. So we're looking for some more coaches to join the Power Builders. We're going to help you to train to do those things.
All right. So I got to ask, is this invitation only, or can anybody come?
Oh, well, you mean for being a coach?
No. Well, for being a coach, I would assume you would be interested in talking to potential coaches who are interested, right?
Yes.
And then the event itself. How do you sell tickets, or how?
We do sell tickets. Yeah, we'll be selling tickets, and that'll be live in January. We will be selling tickets. We'll have general admission tickets. We have VIP tickets. You definitely want to do VIP because there's some amazing things that we give out. And all of our vendors, all of our sponsors are part of the helping you to scale your business. So we, for an example, our tax guy, our CPA, he gave out scholarships to a lot of the businesses who didn't even have an LLC, right? And so he helped them with an LLC and helped them to set up their business and gave them a free, book, 3 to 6 months of bookkeeping. Like those are the things that you need to help to scale your business. And so we want to be very strategic in the partners that we're working with. And I don't, well, I'm going to say it, I'm going to be transparent. I just, sometimes Chris, I'm saying Chris because I talk to Chris every day. Chris Bear.
That's my nephew. No, son, I don't know. He's one of my best friends, Chris Bear.
One of your best friends,
Yeah.
right? He's
Right.
becoming a best friend of mine, Cliff, too. So one of the things that I notice when I go to some of these real estate conferences and all the sponsors want the real estate agent's business, but not want to help them grow their business. Does that make sense? So you've never saw a true real estate event where I'm talking about the major real estate event where the sponsors, all the banks and the mortgage companies and title companies, they just really want the agent's business. But if you ask that sponsor, well, what are you doing to help the business owner grow their business? If you ever go to a conference, ask them that question and see what the response that you get.
Yeah, that's a great question.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, Ron, I'm telling you, I have been looking forward to getting you on this program for a long time, and we are super excited to have you here today. And this happens every week. We get deep into things, and all of a sudden I look at the clock, and
because of the great guests that we bring on,
it is, and we could go on for many, many more hours here. And I just would ask that maybe if we could invite you back in 6 months for perhaps a checkup from the neck up. By that time, you will have had the next Closing the Gap live and with Power Builders, and maybe we can do a recap and just check in with you. Where in the world is Ron Hutcheson?
And how Power Builders is going.
That's right. Yeah, because I know you're going to be somebody that we want to keep an eye on. Ron is a mover and a shaker in the real estate industry, and we are super excited to have you as partners in our global business and to be working to help you and support you in your efforts as well. Man, you got a heart of gold, and you're on a mission, and that's really something exciting to see and to witness here, my friend.
Thank you. And thank you and again, I've been a fan of your show, Cliff Notes, and you didn't even know before I met you. I've been a fan of your show because again, your guests always bring it, man, always bring the knowledge. And I'm a student of the business. A lot of people say, they'll say, hey, you've never sold, real estate before. Like, how can you be a great coach? And I said, well, Ray Kroc never cooked hamburgers, and he's a billionaire. So he know how to build business and systems. He made all his franchise owners millionaires and billionaires. So you don't have to flip hamburgers to own McDonald's. So, but if you understand the business model and you can bring people together and learn different ways and strategies to grow your business, that's a valuable tool that you can bring. So.
That's a writer downer.
You broke that down very well.
That's a writer downer right there, folks. Well, Ron, thank you again so much. And so Ron Hutcheson 25 at gmail.com if you want to get a hold of Ron. And Ron, we just hope that you have a magnificent holiday. Merry Christmas. And we'll look forward to seeing you on the other end of 2022 here as we get into the new year. Ladies and gentlemen, thank everybody for being here today. It's cold outside, as that song goes. Yes. But I will say that it's warm in here, and I hope that you folks have a blessed, warm Christmas, Hanukkah, whatever you celebrate, man. Just, you know what? Our string is short. The string of life gets shorter every day.
It does.
So enjoy it. And
we want to shout out to Heath Cox.
Yeah, we also want to just let you guys know that we lost a dear friend. Wayne Heathcock passed away last Sunday, and his lovely bride and their kids, Robin and the family. We just we're praying for you, and And we know how hard it is. It was as you said, Robin, in your post, there's a Wayne-size hole left in the universe right now, and we really understand that, and we just want to shower you with love and prayers. So anyway, we'll pray for you guys, and everybody just keep Robin and her family in your hearts and minds and your prayers, and we would really appreciate that. Dear friends, great people. All right, sir.
Yeah, let's wrap this thing up.
Okay, it's a wrap. You guys, thank you so much again
Merry
for being
Christmas.
here today. Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Holidays. We'll see you next week. We will be here next week on Cliff's Notes. All right, folks, tune in to Cliff's Notes every Thursday at 1 o'clock Central for the tips, tricks, and tactics to explode your business. I guarantee it.